Hello, divine beings. Welcome to the weekend daily dose of Astro and Tarot. It is the weekend of 10/14 through 10/15, the new moon eclipse in Libra. I'm your astrologer, Sarah Ashley. Let's go. All right, so on Saturday, we have the eclipse in Libra at 21 degrees. Okay, 21 degrees Libra. This sun will, of course, square with Pluto. So the sun and moon in a conjunction will square Pluto. So a lot of changes because remember, Pluto just went direct on 10/10. So it might feel because like eclipses are chapter changers. They are cycle breakers. It is time to move forward. It might feel like relationships, it might feel like foundations, it might feel like karmic contracts are coming to this very end. It's like a completion. And it can feel a little bit violent or rocky depending on where you are with this energy. Okay, I'm not saying that violence will ensue for everybody, but I do feel like with that square to Pluto, people can act out of control. It adds another layer of intensity to an eclipse, which is already intense, and it's a ring of fire eclipse too. So I feel like people can really be on their worst behavior if they are not, doing their divine alignment work, prayer, meditation, grounding, exercise, all the things that make us consciously aware of our own actions and our own behavior. So that's really important to do today. Chiron will oppose Mercury directly today. So be aware that you are not saying and doing things or thinking things out of a hurt place. You're not taking things personally when it's not personal, because Chiron is all about our inner child wounds and sometimes our unhealed inner child wounds. And speaking of inner child, Ceres, which is in Scorpio right now, which represents the mother, is opposing Jupiter and Taurus. So there is a lot of mourning during this eclipse too, because regardless of what is being lost, sometimes it's hard to let go, even if you wanted to let go of that. So there is the extreme end of this eclipse where we have the fighting that's going on in the Middle East, and people like literal mothers are in mourning about what's going on with their children. And then, we have just that deep soul pain that we have for others who are in mourning around the world. And then, of course, we mourn our own personal losses that might not be in the physical, right? They can just be letting go of a place. Like if you're physically moving, a lot of people are physically moving right now because Uranus is still in Taurus. So there's just a lot of shifting, and don't begrudge yourself if you are in mourning right now, or if you are just not handling this energy well, like you feel like you've lost something. In Hygeia too, Hygeia, the asteroid of health and healing, squaring Jupiter. So make sure to take really good care of yourself during this time, because if you burn yourself out or you rely on old coping mechanisms like drinking, smoking, the whole 9 yards, I don't need to tell you guys what those are for you, then yeah, you're gonna, hurt yourself. You're going to wind up in a situation where you're not in a healing position. So on Sunday, we will have Mars, as Sunday moves into a Scorpio moon, Mars will right away conjunct this moon. And it's, going out of the eclipse phase. So Mars conjunction moon makes people feel really irritable and restless, especially Scorpio. It can make people feel like they are going through this death and rebirth process very quickly, and it's not going to be an easy time for a lot of people if they're not in their metamorphosis stage. So what I mean by that, if you didn't voluntarily let go, like if the universe served you a tower moment during this eclipse, it's going to be very difficult. Now, if you are in the metamorphosis stage, if you are moving on, if you have been following divine timing, then yes, you're probably going to say, okay, yeah, this new energy is very difficult to integrate, and it might feel a little awkward, and I might feel a little nervous, but I'm going to be okay with it. And Sun also will conjunct Mercury, and Mercury is about to conjunct the South Node. So what this all tells me is that we're in more of this like, okay, we're going to plan what's next and try to balance for ourselves. And then Moon will sextile Venus in Virgo too. So this is a time of healing, but allow yourself to heal. Give yourself that space to heal. with Sun in a quincunx, or what some people like to call an in conjunction with Uranus, there might be some electronic malfunctions today. I wouldn't be surprised if like the internet glitches. I know TikTok's been having some issues. So just be aware of that, and that could lead to like that extra frustration with that Mars conjunction moon too. Just be aware of all that. Now let's get into the cards and see what's going on. I hope that everybody has an easy time with these energies. And of course, if you like to book a reading with me, an astrology, tarot, or Akashic Records, which is a past life reading, you can go to my website, sarahashleyAstrology.com. If you are on Instagram, go ahead and click that subscribe button to me on Instagram, and you can save half off of readings. You can get a monthly Zoom private meeting with the rest of the subscription group, and you'll find out all about the monthly astrology, and then you'll get your own mini personal reading in there. And I also send weekly Astro and Tarot, and there's other fun discounts too, especially for courses and upcoming retreats. I do have a Tarot and Astrology course on my website that's pre-recorded, and you can learn how to read a birth chart and tarot. And I'm also going to put an Astrology 2-1 up there soon, and that's learning how to read a compatibility chart and draconic and some other cool things. All right, let's see what's going on with the tarot. Okay. The main energy for this is Knight of Pentacles. This eclipse, Knight of Pentacles. Let me see what the challenge cards. Knight of Pentacles means we must be patient. We must understand that the investments that we're making are actually going to pay off. King of Wands is in reverse. So this tells me like we're not feeling our most passionate self. So we might not be looking forward to the patience and the investment that it's going to take to actually get to our end goal. Okay, we might be kind of feeling drained from this eclipse is what this is telling me. And then a advice card for the collective. Okay, Temperance. So don't go overboard, like I said, especially that High G is squaring Jupiter. Just one day at a time, and don't overdo it. Just know that you got the power here to succeed in whatever, you can manifest on an eclipse, you can, but you've got the power to succeed in your wildest dreams, especially if you're 7-11 on the time stamp, especially if you are making the changes that you need that are incremental. So it's everyday habits. That's what I always think of a Knight of Pentacles. It's the everyday habits that get us to where we are. It's not the big grandiose gestures. It's not just the eclipse. It's the everyday. It's when the astrology is just ho-hum. Those everyday little things that we do are going to add up to big things. Okay, so Temperance is saying you have the power here to alchemize whatever you want, but don't go overboard. Let's get some Moonology cards to add into this. Okay. A fiery climax approaches. Well, this makes sense because we do have, and this is the full moon in Aries card. I mean, we do have this opposing, all of the Aries North Node placements right now. And the Aries North Node is all about getting into our own empowerment. So as we get away from things that we no longer should have dependency on, yes, it can feel very uncomfortable, and there could be a lot of fighting, especially with Mars and Scorpio right now. Also, we see this on a world level. We see that people are getting very irritated and irate. And when eclipses happen to come into a cycle and begin a whole new cycle with that square to Pluto as well, it can really feel dramatic. And Aries is also, about the warrior. So let's try to focus on grounding as much as possible and not just reacting. So focus on reflecting and not reacting. All right, guys, you know where to find me if you like reading, and I will see you on Monday's Daily Dose of Astro and Tarot. All right, have a great weekend. Bye-bye.